Hello, hello, mic testing. Okay, yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. Ngasi akoi an hai gi bodo ko akoi ngasi reading comprehension tawse na aduna keno ki reading comprehension se akoi ki article newspaper article or bi novels to gi bi or non-fiction book any kind of article ko oi be ai hatare aduna ngasi aina hanba article ama local isi kadai dagi no hai matam da ngasai gi kano sini sigi Gurcharan das na iba ko sigi the Gita AI and I ko si kano ni akoi gi Indian Express da akoi gi date kano da 1st of September da publish to giba article ne hai tar phone to pai ge hello Oh. 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 So ngasi tawdi si ngasai gi Gurcharan das na iba the Gita AI and I sineba si Indian Express da publish to wani 1st of September da ko dugi kano duni Gurcharan das si kana no hai matam da masi si nu pa sini ai ngasai download to rabani masi ko gi kano ne Procter and Gamble gi kano ne CEO su era me hai masi ko aduga ai ko gi ko na masi writer oi gi bani hai tar mana ngasai gi like ahum kha irami ahum dagi hena irami ada khwadi maming chappa like ahum se ngasai gi India gi maram da mana iram basine ba aduna magi first book sigi India Unbound je oi ba tar ka India Unbound sina magi kano doni India gi matang da trilogy me irame ha tar like ahum irame ha tar ka India gi matang da aduna masigi India Unbound je le second da mana irisi Sida the difficulty of being good ka on the subtle art of dharma sisu mana irambani and then another famous book ka trilogy to the third book the mana iramisi kama the riddle of desire ka sisu mana ibane hatar sigi trilogy si akoi gi ngasai gi India gi context ta ibane hatar ka ma masamak Harvard University da gi doctorate phangba mini aduga hairiba masi koi kano contributor kano contributing writer ne haitare for newspaper sing da aduna ngasi ahanba akoi gi reading comprehension gi first ki kano se article si mangon da gi mana iba ko sigi the Gita AI and I sigi matang da ne adu si discuss tawar si ngasi ye ngasi ko par si The Gita I think asai kano doni akoi gi Bhagavad Gita doni Hindu gi holy book to ko adu AI di artificial intelligence doni adu I di isane bo ko ye ngasi mana hai zikari hai no na mana di August 28 ta ibani ko 2025 ki but it was published on the 1st of September 2025 on Indian Express. Sigi mai sagi topic tu subtitle ni mam piri se an AI powered Bhagavad Gita project and equation ka who am I sagda mana sinari ba sagi who am I hai se ka sagi sigi se mai se just I do ne ba da mana sagi play of words to raga artificial intelligence ya ora banina AI and hai wa ne What will my friends think of me spouting fake rubbish? Will my twin know my thoughts, memories, things I don't want to talk about? So, mana nasa hangise, what will my friends think of me spouting fake rubbish? Ko, da magi mamana ba singna kari khangani habane kari gumba aina oida ba kanada ba rubbish gumba mayam ngangaga di habane wa. Magi subtitle ni ko adagi will my twin adi magi AI twin duni know my thoughts, memories, things I don't want to talk about. Aina ngangning da ba aina thamjaning ba wai sing do aigi clone haigadra twin duna AI twin duna khangadra haibane wa adugi kano duni mana doubt leiba hai tare ko magi twin AI da AI ga AI na mana na magi kano da magi role do loro podoko adu tu mana haise. So how is it? One wintry evening in Delhi, I received an unusual call from New York. At the other end was a soft, charming voice that belonged to someone who was bringing out the world's classics using artificial intelligence. They'd chosen the Bhagavad Gita from India and wondered if I'd be a guide for this interactive AI book. The voice explained that the AI book would encourage readers to ask questions while reading the text. Answers would come from my clone voice based on 15 hours of interviews conducted in advance. At the end of each chapter, the reader would engage in a discussion with my clone. So, as I Gurcharan Das writers in the higher say, one wintry evening ko yamna koigi winter gi evening amada hai tare aingbo ermani ko mana Delhi da leiring aida I received an unusual call from New York yamna thajadaba ko unusual call ama fangami habni New York tagi. At the other end was a soft, charming voice that belonged to someone who was bringing out the world's classics using artificial intelligence. So asonakan gi magi voice to hai tare New York tagi toreba nupa do yamna soft way charming way mai makhondo aduga mana kaidoge ha matamda akogi world gi classics hai targadi akogi thaina gi lyrics sing hai tare ko maming chatpa lyrics sing se classics ko widana ko adugi classics mayam do artificial intelligence ki kano da hai tare artificial intelligence yauraga publish tawning ba release tawning ba mi amakhak ne ba ngai phone to raise New York tagi ko. So they had chosen, they has a go. So they has THE they had high nego. And the power but the dum say dead and the park in ever. Go some jelly contraction form the sign park in a. So they chosen Bhagavad Gita from India. So man aside classic site agadi with tiny like mayam doing India the gidi moina kari like Kanyam Tamda Bhagavad Gita as a kalev. Aduga wondered moina hangam hai tare if I'd be a guide for this interactive AI book. Moina release tawna wana ising asai AI yawba direction eba interactive oiba interactive id wari sanaba yaba hai tare ko adugi AI book ama release tawdune Bhagavad Gita da adugi guide si ngasai gi Gurcharan Das si oining brana hangam me habne. The voice explained voice sitting asai phone torpunu padoni ko explained that the AI book would encourage readers to ask questions while reading the text. So, ngasai AI book moina release tawdu is karamba like no ha matam da ngasai gi reader sing sida koi gi moina paringai da question hangba yaba aduga answer su phangba yaba adugumba like ne AI gi. Answers would come from my clone voice. So answer p to cd real time da answer p to cd ngasai Gurcharan Das na p du na te ngasai gi magi AI du na p du ne adu clone voice hai targadi magi kano hai tare magi makhon do adu semaba adagi magi ngasai gi kano tawba hai tare magi wakhalon do lahoraba adugumba voice na feed du neba adugumba AI du na pi du neba based on 15 hours of interviews conducted in advance. So already Gurcharan Das da moina 15 hours ki interview ma lawdu ne ngasai topic si da hai tare ngasai gi lyric si da Bhagavad Gita si da adu dagi lohoba data me am do sinaraga ngasai gi reader do na hangba question do answer to handu ne AI sida magi voice ne amati magi piramba ngasai interview du piramba data natraga knowledge ko about the book haitare adu sinaraga ngasai reader sida answer to handuine ba kano se AI book sina kano sida haitare Bhagavad Gita AI book sina ngasai reader sida kano to handuine ba answer pi handuine ba sina bana kanai knowledge sina du ba ngasai Gurcharan das ki kala je lok thok da magi 15 hour gi interview du de lahoduine ba data se. At the end of each chapter, the reader would engage in a discussion with my clone. Ko, ngasai chapter du loira matung the reader du na ngasai my voice clone du ka wari sana du ne ba tau du se. Sini first paragraph ta ko. I was fascinated and perturbed. I wish I had had such a personal tutor while reading the Gita for the first time. But I was also troubled with questions of identity, selfhood, and authenticity. It felt strange having a twin speaking in my voice. Ironically, these are the same questions, who am I, that the Gita also addresses. Ma's fascinated, ma's perturbed, disturbed happening. I wish I had such a personal tutor while reading the Gita for the first time. So mana Gita parapu matam dadi sumba akoi personal AI tutor gumba si lairam deva. Aduna ai isu lairam magati nuai gada bani matam du da cinema. But I was also troubled. Adu amaram dadi nuai ni ko personal tutor ama laibagi. Amaram dadi am trouble we kai gino ha matam da sisina akoi gi identity akoi kanano dagi selfhood akoi individuality laibra the authenticity mana piriban answer lo chumma bra haibagi question nama lakhani dana ko aduna adugi khaluraga di amuk masu trouble way ko. It felt strange yamna ngakningai way sine having a twin speaking in my voice magi AI clone duna magi voice ngang dunina adu khalubada masi prang na esine ko. Ironically, these are the same questions ko. Who am I that the Gita also addresses? Sigi akoi ai si kanano haibasi ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ ꯈꯪꯖꯗꯦꯕ ꯑꯗꯨ ꯈꯪꯖꯗꯕꯁꯤ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ AI ꯗꯨꯅ ꯑꯩꯁꯤ ꯔꯤꯄ꯭ꯂꯦꯁ ꯇꯧꯕ ꯌꯥꯄꯣꯠꯇꯦꯕ ꯀꯝꯄ꯭ꯂꯤꯠꯂꯤ ꯅꯠꯇ꯭ꯔꯥ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯄꯣꯠꯁꯦ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯒꯤꯇꯥꯅꯁꯨ ꯚꯒꯕꯠ ꯒꯤꯇꯥꯅꯁꯨ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯍꯪꯗꯅ ꯂꯩꯕ ꯀ꯭ꯋꯦꯁꯟꯅꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯑꯩꯁꯦ ꯀꯅꯥꯅꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯁꯦ ꯑꯗꯨꯒꯤ ꯄꯣꯠꯇꯣ ꯍꯧꯖꯤꯛꯇꯤ AI ꯊꯣꯛꯂꯛꯑꯦ ꯑꯩ ꯑꯁꯦꯡꯕ ꯑꯃ ꯂꯩꯔꯦ ꯑꯁꯦꯡꯕꯁꯤꯅ ꯀꯅꯥꯅꯣ ꯑꯗꯣ ꯈꯪꯉꯔꯣꯏ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯒꯤ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯃꯉꯣꯟꯗ ꯅꯨꯡꯉꯥꯏꯖꯗꯕ ꯅꯨꯡꯅꯥꯡꯕ ꯑꯃ ꯂꯩ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯅꯦꯕ ꯔꯥꯏꯇꯔꯁꯤꯅ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯤꯁꯦꯀꯣ ꯑꯗꯣ ꯐꯅꯤ ꯑꯣꯏꯔꯤꯗꯤ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯍꯥꯏꯕ ꯃꯇꯝꯗ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯤꯕ ꯀ꯭ꯋꯦꯁꯟꯁꯤ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯃꯥꯅ ꯇ꯭ꯔꯥꯟꯁꯂꯦꯠ ꯇꯧꯔꯤꯕ ꯉꯁꯥꯏꯒꯤ ꯃꯥꯅ ꯀꯩꯅꯣ ꯇꯧꯔꯤꯕ ꯍꯥꯏꯇꯥꯔꯦ ꯑꯦꯛꯁꯄ꯭ꯂꯦꯟ ꯇꯧꯔꯤꯕ ꯂꯥꯏꯔꯤꯛꯇꯣ ꯑꯗꯨꯅꯁꯨ ꯑꯗꯨꯝ ꯍꯪꯂꯤꯕ ꯀ꯭ꯋꯦꯁꯟꯅꯤ ꯁꯤꯅꯦ ꯃꯥ ꯍꯥꯏꯔꯤꯁꯦ. The friendly voice reassured me that their company had already published half a dozen classics. Well-known names like Salman Rushdie and Margaret Atwood had signed up to do the future classics. I'm ambivalent, but I agreed. After hanging up, I was left to deal with my AI monsters. So ngasai New York tagi phone tawpa nupa do na mangonda assurance pirameba. Adudi moi company sina already ngasai AI classics mayam se release tawpa haure. Half a dozen haidi 6 haini ko already 6 published tawre haibane sige. Half a dozen hai dozen 12 midana. Aduna half a dozen hai target di 6 neba already 6 classics release tawre ne dagi afaw maming ko Salman Rushdie adagi Margaret Atwood moisu future da tawne haibagi sign up tawre sineba yawarni na ko. I was ambivalent adi akhoi gi sai dilemma da leiba hai tare ko exactly kai tawduno khangdabdo hai tare adudone ambivalent, but I agreed ai yadi yare. After hanging up phone to thamma matungda I was left to deal with my AI monsters. So ma ngasai gi AI da sai ma na nganga duini na mayam se ko ma gi ngasai le sai tare Bhagavad Gita gi matang da adu gi pot to ma ngonda deal tawna gi pot to adu khata ngai hore ha bane ba hojiti yarabani na ko. AI monsters sai se kai na bai tambagam de na ama hai ni ma na ama translate taw khagari phak ta duini da na ko aduna thajaba ya da wa pot ni monster gi ta na hai ne mai se. 9 months later, I am hard at work on this project. I have 3 AI interns to assist me. ChatGPT is the most empathetic. Perplexity is best at research and giving links to follow up, and Claude has a literary style. Gemini is a good standby. They are hugely competent and cheerful. ChatGPT can translate a Sanskrit verse into English in 3 seconds, which is 100 times faster than Patrick Olivelle, the great scholar. When I have occasionally pointed out that something is not quite right, they try again without a hint of complaint or the need for approval. And they keep getting better. While they have taken away the drudgery of research, I'm troubled by my lack of ownership, feeling an alienating distance from the AI output. So 9 months later, ngasai phone tawramba dugi 9 months later ga maji pura involved oire ngasai project to the ko da mangonda yauriba AI intern AI ohumna mangonda mateng pangi hai ni kana kana no hai matam da chat gpt ne adagi perplexity ne adagi claude ne ko adu gemini is no stand by da mulai ne ko chat gpt is na khwai dagi mana ngangni ba pot to understand to mali hai ni empathetic hai je ko adagi perplexity is na ngasai gi magi research to da di khwai di best way si AI amani ko adagi links khoi follow up makha ta thina bagi links kum bazu pi hai bane ba adagi claude has a literary style ngasai gi mana phondok ni ba sing do literary oi ba mong da puthok ngam ba sina claude sina ngam me hai bane ba adagi they are hugely competent and such cheerful moi yam thina competent oi hai re ko ngasai kono sing do sai AI gi ahum do ko adai cheerful akhoi saw ba khot pa kem tau de sini ho na tra ada hai badi ngasai ma hai gi illi hai bani the ChatGPT can translate a Sanskrit verse into English in 3 seconds. So ChatGPT na ngasai Sanskrit to English olan ba kay the Bhagavad Gita the Sanskrit ki verse am yawi dana ko adu do English to matam da just 3 seconds ka changi sine which is 100 times faster than Patrick Olivelle, the great scholar. Sigi Patrick Olivelle sing ngasai gi great Sanskrit scholar am kani ko mana translate to matam du da gi 100 times faster way ChatGPT sina ko. So mana when I have occasionally pointed out mana marta ehno translate to ido lali kholi and high matam da moi can complain to de hai ni without a hint of complaint hai jaga without a hint of complaint hai je complaint can to de dagi or the need for approval dagi mana hai ba sa to re hai bane ko aduni mana hai si ai badi sai gi hangat na ba leite hai bane then and they keep getting better while they have taken away the drudgery of research. Drudgery hai ta ga di tan to de am tan ba thabak se drudgery ko we ko aduga ngasai gi research to bagi atan ba thabak to adu lau thok pi re ba but I'm troubled by my lack of ownership. Ngasai gi thabak ama aina tawjaraga di ai gi ni hai bagi proud oi bom le ba adu di yaw dress ne ba lack of ownership, feeling an alienating distance from the AI output. AI dagi tholak pa output to adagi adudo aiga ai ni haibado ai ngamdre. So there is a some kind of distance sama laire haibane ngasai gi AI gi output to ko alienating distance hai ara pa khal laire haibane man translate tawjar ga so ma gi ni haibado hek ngamdre haibane. Okay. Since the invisible labor of research has been eased, I have more time to think, to play thought games. What if the Buddha had been Arjuna's charioteer? How is it that M.K. Gandhi, the apostle of non-violence, and Heinrich Himmler, the Nazi apostle of violence, were both inspired by the Gita? Himmler used to train SS officers quoting from the Gita. So ngasai gi mangwanda research to bagi awabado leitrabani na ko ma hoji kai doge ha matam da ma se kokki game ga sanaba haureo ma khaleba kai gumba budana ngasai gi Arjuna gi charioteer or magadi ma Gita da di ngasai ko no orisi kono na Krishna ni ko ado budana or magadi kamain torom gani Arjuna do tien ka pom gadra ka pom moidra kaina ko adu gumba gi type ni mana hangise ade how is it that M.K. Gandhi, the apostle of non-violence ki khwai dagi akoi imagano hai tare makuk thangba example oi riba ko M.K. Gandhi atra Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi adaga Heinrich Himmler, the Nazi apostle of violence ki top ta lei riba ko Nazi ki second world war ki Hitler ki kono ni commander ni natra mabani je kamaina both are inspired by the Gita ani mak se kamaina Gita na inspired tawri no sineba. Himmler used to train SS soldiers, SS officers, SS is kono duni ko ngasai gi Nazi officers mayam duni Hitler officers mayam duni mana train tawrameba quoting from the Gita quote tawraga Gita gi wahi sing do sinaraga mana SS officer sing do da saigi mi hat na ba juice mayam hatok na ba kono tawram mi sineba train to bira mi sineba adu am sathi ba mi du su Gita na train tawre aduga khwaidagi peace ki akhoi non violence ki makok thangna chaliba MK Gandhi su Gita na inspire tawrini ani mak kamain inspire tawrino ka have question ja asagi writers in hanging up mission ne ka gina da ma hojiti research ta udrabni na adugumba akhoi philosophical of questions sing ja hanging up mission ne ma hais ko I worry about being cloned by a machine. What will my friends think of me spouting fake rubbish? Will my twin know my thoughts, memories, things I don't want to talk about? What if a friend actually developed a closer relationship with my compassionate clone? I'd feel jealous, cheated, and a fool. It feels eerie having him running around, giving talks, making podcasts, racking up thousands of listeners. Worse, what if he cleaned out my bank account, confirming transactions on the phone via voice recognition software? So Gurcharan dasi masagi maga chamana ba ma masagi kano ma AI ma sagani habisa masi kitang pakat poi nuai taboy power ba magi makhon dagi magi wakhan ko adugumba ma computer da le hodu ni duna ko AI na maga chamana ba ma sani habisi clone tawgani habisi masi kitang restless oire ha tare worried oire ha tare. What will my friends think of me spouting fake rubbish ko ma haise ai imanaba singsina kaigumba ngasai gi AI na hairakpatu aina ngangba nataba mana magi on kano da intelligence tagi aina ngangbay tap ta puthora ngang khalo adu dadi ai gi imanaba singduna ai se kari haina khangani ai ja tasengna AI duna khalli wakhan du khalla jala kaina handane yeng dara kadra kaina khanba gi wakhalon do lakhadra cinema haise. What will my friends think of me spouting fake rubbish haise ko the spouting the putorak pa tar issue torak pa hairak pa ko will my twin I think I clone do ko AI clone do ni know my thoughts, memories, things I don't want to talk about. Mi khudimaki ngasai gi secret mingon da hiding da ba fazada ba wahi leidana ko adui poto AI do na khangadra senda aina ngasai monda pung traunga interview to bodu da hai wahi du da gi magi on kono ma develop toraga knowledge ma intelligence ma develop toraga aina haining da wa dagi khaning da wakhal adu khangadra haibagi mawanda chingnaba ma laire ba sagi writer sida adagi what if a friend of mine actually develop a closer relationship with my compassionate clone ko agi friend ama na sagi clone duga oina tinagraba ai je hundok pirama ba adu itadi I want the kai fawani sine ma haise ko adi clone du di always ngasai ma tinari mi do yana ba ma di dum compassionate oidini munna ta duini adagi madi asaw bolai roidini natra I would feel jealous ko adu that I jealous oigani cheated oigani and a fool gi type the feel tawgane have ne it feels eerie I say strange way ho hallu da haidar having him running around giving talks so ngasai hojikti Gurcharan dasi mayam na taning ba speaker ne ma chala ngangi ni mafam chala ko akhoi gi kano chalaga ma talks piri ni adagi podcast tawri ni adu mayam do mai AI do no ne chakhala ba ko masi mangonda hena singye hai do na AI jo kauna re hai tar Gurcharan das ki AI wena pame Gurcharan das pamak train khalase adu tadi mangonda amna adu gi khalu da amna nungang ba nungai ta ba hai tar adu gumba feeling ama fawi hai ne it feels eerie has go worse adayan sathi bana karino hai matamda what if he clean out my bank account confirming transactions on the phone via voice recognition software so adayan sathi na karino hai matamda magi bank account da leiba paisa mayam do sai AI do na loi lauthok khadi kamai tawba magi password to khoi voice recognition software oina sina halaga magi paisa du loina mak lauthok dita agati kamai tawgani sine ma hai ko so sigi my concerns mayam amale magi AI clone ama puthok pase hai tar ko AI raises fundamental questions about what is to be human. The only thing I am sure of at this moment are the thoughts and feelings going through my head. If I look into my consciousness, I cannot find the thinker of my thoughts, the feeler of my feelings. Western philosophers and neuroscientists have tried to locate the self but haven't found it either. The Gita claims that my sense of identity is an illusion created by the human ego. My true self is the Atma which is identical with the cosmic Brahman. Awareness of the oneness of everything is the Gita's central teaching. Buddha also faced this problem but reached the opposite conclusion. He resigned himself to living with the idea of no self, anatma. So AI is the fundamental, basic questions pukhale hai tar AI tholak pasina ko adudi miyoi ba haibasi kana no ka haina kari no ka haibasi adugumba basic oiba questions, fundamental oiba questions ya pukhale ba. The only thing I am sure of at this moment are the thoughts and feelings going through my head ko aduna ngasai writers na hairisi aina taseng na sure oiba aibu aina wakhan khalliba adagi aina feel toriba sidi sure oi ko cmd khangjei. If I look into my consciousness, I cannot find the thinker of my thoughts. The feeler of my feelings. Feeling to the kangima nungai be wabo be harawa be pakat por be adu di makangewa. But adu kanana fauri no haibagi ngasagi kano to the pangbangam de habde. Western philosophers and neuroscientists have tried to locate the self. Sagi manung the yauriba shelf se ko khoi sa hai tare masi phangna honara mi but haven't found it either. Moinazu phangbang ngam khide hai bane ko. The Gita claims that my sense of identity is an illusion created by the human ego. So isa haibse kana no haibse Gita na haibse masi leite sini is an illusion is ni masi akoina leitaba podamada lei haina khanjaba amaneba kaidagi tholakpano ha matamda masi human ego haibadi masana hele mana fare ma mangaire ana khanbado adugi feeling duna akoida ai haiba ma lei hana khalan bani sineb adubu aseng bagi di masi ai haiba pocha leite sineb Gita da mana harisiko. My true self is the atma soul haibasi oiduni sineb adu duni sineb mana wakan khanba kanu du nattaba haitare magi manungda leiba ama thawai haitare adu khatani sineb. Which is identical with the cosmic Brahman. Cosmic Brahman is the universal iba masagi magi force hagadra adugi Brahman duga amattani habane masagi koi soul jo ko aduga masai feel toriba de wakhan khaliba adududi asengba ai hak natte sin adudi masagi human ego aina hele natraga ai singe hana khanjariba wakhan duna khalan bani sine ma haiji ko. Awareness of the oneness of Gita is the Gita's central teaching ko. Punamak amatani haibase haibadi aigi thawai mi thawai adagi tayong panbu sembiriba ishor ko punamak si amatani haibase si Gita gi central teaching neba. Buddha also faced this problem. Buddha na si problem je masu thengnarami but reached the opposite conclusion. The opposite conclusion the manata himneba. He resigned himself to living with the idea of no self. So Gita da dinga sagi atma ama lei haidana ko aduga Buddha na di atma su leite kem leite sineba ko adugi magi concepto mana an atma haina korami sineba ko. Right. AI has added a second layer of falsehood ko aran bama zo muhapsale. Who am I is a question based on lived experience not to be answered by a machine. The idea of a clone twin of my thoughts providing answers feels like betrayal. Already second by the realization that my exalted liberal self is a fictional narrator, AI has added a double fiction, leaving me totally befuddled. Mark Twain must have felt this absurdity when he quipped, "There is no difference between fiction and non-fiction, only that fiction has to make sense." Nasagi AI is a second layer amaga hapsal layer falsehood aran bado. That is, who am I? Habse aise kana no habse ko. Aise kana no habse mase akoina leiraba mi du ngasagi magi hinga ka anda khaktang da lakadaba pot ne hatar not to be answered by a machine. Machine na sidi ahingba pot na te na ko. Aduna mana khumba ngam moy habne ba answer do. Adu bu mana khangbai type ta di haidu ne ba. Aduna the idea of a clone twin ngasagi magi AI ama semba do Gurcharan dasi ko. Aduna the idea of a clone twin of my thoughts providing answers feels like betrayal. So aiga manaba AI ama semba ga mana answer to hon basa masi betrayal gi type the feel to we kasagi writers na ko habidi magi aseng wakhal du di kanung du khangoi habne AI du na adubu mading asagi reader du da mana loin khangawai type ta Gurcharan Das ki everything je khangawai type ta answer pi iduneba adugi pot to ma pamde haibneba adu betrayal ni magi kanu natte sine ko mana khaliba pot to asembadu oiroi haibneba aduna already shaken by the realization that my exalted liberal self my exalted adi akhoi wangna thangalaba haibane ko liberal self yamna free oiba self ai haibane that is the clone dune ma hairize clone du ding asai gi madi machine ni na madi pra perfect ki type ta nga ka dune ba aduna madi pra exalted oiba yamna high level du leiraba ade free oiba self amgi type ta nga ka dune ko so my exalted self is a fictional narrator ni namari aseng banate duna ko AI has added a double fiction leaving me totally befuddled so befuddled adi ngasai gi na koi thawai nunga han daba upset ohan ba ko aduna mana ngasai gi oi daba ma nganga daba do ai saraga nganga daba do adu ai taseng nai nungai te habre ma Mark Twain ji kono dunya forward writer duni ko classics iramba duni Huckleberry Finn ge ibuduni must have felt this absurdity masigi akhoi kano se hai tar oi da wa kano si sai gi ai saraga mi mana man gai ngang bado aduga mi mayam na ma gi do hen thaja bado masigi pakta ba hai tar ko masi feel to rong mane mana when he quip by the joke to ba hai bani there is no difference between fiction and non-fiction only that fiction has to make sense ko aduna aseng baga seng da baga hai base khena ba kem lerakte ba kai gumba seng da ba potuna ya man na libanga ma ba ma di maram chara ba ko adu ita gari mayam na adu gi seng da ba do achum da ba do adum thaja gi ne hai bane ba aduna nga sai AI duna lira ko wari se adu ki matik man du ne ba adu di nga sai gi mayam na masi Gurcharan Das ki aseng ba wakhal ni na tra Gita gi aseng ba meaning ni na chat khini hai bane ma hai ko That AI might become sentient is my other fear. Before it happens, I believe AI has formidable hurdles to cross. One, the human experience is inherently subjective and cannot be explained in objective terms. When I observe a red apple, it invokes all kinds of feelings of redness inside me. It could be the memory of blood oozing out of my brother's leg in an accident, or the red cheeks of Renoir's young girl in his painting. Philosophers call this subjective content qualia. The question is, how will AI duplicate qualia, the private unspoken product of the subjective consciousness of a billion humans? Ko ma sing sai gi atopa ki bum su le ma saraga yam ngang ba ko to do na ta ba adu di kai no ha matam da koi sentient hai ta ga di feeling fawbo ngamba feeling leiba awa ba fawbo ngamba nungai ba fawbo ngamba ki ba fawbo ngamba sa masi sentient oi ba ka we ko adu sai gi AI si sentient oi ba ngam ka drasini mana khali se ko ha bi sai gi mi oi ba na phaw ba sai gi kono the feelings ma am do phaw ngam ka dra ha ba si ma gi aki ba ne adu taw dring ai da ma is na AI has formidable hurdles amna strong oi ba yam na akan ba hurdle ai chong da ma yam ma lai ri ha ba ne ba ko one the human experience is inherently subjective ko sai gi mioi bagi magi kano si experience ma magi kano the experience to khena bani na ma magi wakhalo nam khenai dana ko aduni ha inherently subjective hai je ko kana gumom dadi pot amasi mongonda phana uduni pot ama do mongonda ki na uduni ba adagi nuai tana uduni ba aduna feeling do khenari do kai no ham tam da magi human experience to manada bagi ne mi ni do adugi pot to masai ki AI dadi leite dana ko adugi experience to madi phok to ponina madu explain to ba ngamoy ha bane ba cannot be explained in objective terms ko objective oi ba ngamoy ha bane ba sai miyo ba ding sai feelings to dum yaw ka ne ba adu da sai gi kano da moi da feeling yaw da ba gi pot to adum lei ni sin da kano da AI da di ko so when I observe a red apple sai writers in a red apple ma u matam da sai mangon da feeling mayam thole ba red ha bisi karamba feeling thola ke ha matam da magi brother dagi e tholak padu red ni dana ko adusu wakhan dum thole sai red apple do u matam da red to na mangon da dugumba feeling the thole ha bane ko adagi red cheek of Renoir's young girl in his painting Renoir is a great painter ni magi layak pada sai nupi macha du gi mamai da ngang bodo adusu mu uhalle ba sitting aside writer do not thengna ra pa my life ki experience to gi lack for feeling ne ha tar sisi AI dadi sigi feeling mayam ji yaudabani na ma kamaina generate tongam dino aduga mana kamaina explain to bangam dino pot amado sai writer do no fauri do haibane ma aise philosophers call this subjective content mi gi manadaba sagi magi explanation magi feeling leibado madu philosophers na qualia haina kawe ko. The question is how AI will duplicate qualia se do na AI na kamaina putopong ngamdino sineo because they don't have the life experience of that particular person natra. The private unspoken product of the subjective consciousness of 8 billion humans. So world la is mi kya no 8 billion human ne ko 8 billion humans ma magi oiba wakan ji amta manaroi dini ma magi oiba ngasagi magi life experience amta manaroi dini ba aduna ngasagi computer duna mi mayam du gi manatra wakal du kamaina yana mong da explain tau duno haibadu writers khangde haibane ko aduna AI si yo ya hiroi haibane magi knowledge to panam namana kano toraga su project toraga sem sadana hairaga su sagi magi feeling shawba akoi subject mayam dadi adum fail hoigini haibane ma aise ko. So another obstacle is to replicate my brain's biological neuron specific physiology in my subjective experience. AI may copy the objective red color, its wavelength of 650 nanometers, but it cannot access my subjective redness that emerges from my brain's 86 billion neurons and 500 trillion synapses. Both these hurdles lead to a third one. Essential to human consciousness is spontaneity, a freedom to choose my goals. That autonomy, the Gita tells me, comes from the life force, Atma. AI today can follow commands based on algorithms and data. It has far to go to achieve self-awareness. Haziki makata ko dama haisi sai brain da yauri ba ngasai biology gi oi ba koi neuron mayam yaw bo se sina ngasai gi ai gi subjective experience to ngasai gi piri bane bo natra adu da moi da record to ga lei ri bane adu gi pot to ngasai replicate ai di matau tamba nga moi ba AI do na khambra. AI may copy the objective red color ma red color gi ngasai gi wavelength 650 nanometer ni adu gumba data koi kono mayam do di objective information mayam do di ma khang ba ya but it cannot access ngasagi brains to the record tower leriba magi experience ngasagi human being to the particular human being to the yauriba magi sai red ki machu du da magi tholaiba feelings adagi magi ningjangiba memories mayamdo akogi 86 billion neurons and 500 trillion synapses record tower leriba pot to the mana access to ngamoi amadi mana adugi pot to replicate to ngamoi habne haiba ngamoi habne aduna mana general oina di high gibe red colors in the feelings of say anger wholly the excited oily adu high gibe ya common noiba kono da high tar thim da but particular human being amagi magi particular experience the subjective experience to the kaidung the sunga sai gi AI do access to ngamoy amadi replicate to ngamoy habne ko hariba hurdle sing se hariba mana lan ga da kono mayam sina hurdle chong da wa sai pan mayam sina kai do han gam tam da ano pan na ma thole ba adu di kari no ha matam da essential to human consciousness is spontaneity, a freedom to choose my goals ko akoi mioi ba da khwai da gi maru oina yawi ba si akoi da sai freedom ama lei ba se akoi na tawning ba da tawba ya ba akoi na ai goal do phang na ba mong da ina chating ba mong da chat pa ya ba gi freedom ama lei ba se masi AI da di masi gi kano se leite ma di command da gi data da fit tor matung ina chat pne ba the humans da di lei ba si kai gi lei no ha matam da it comes from Gita kai ha ge matam da masi akoi gi basic life force ma yaw ba khoi da adu di kai no atma ha jine or the soul ha jine ba adu gi poto sai kano da di yaw de ha ba ne ba sai AI da di yaw de ha ne so AI can follow commands based on algorithms and data ko algorithm data matung ina ma command do follow to bangam badi ai but it has far to go chakada ba yam wale ba to achieve self awareness masana masabu kana no hai ba khangjaba do adu oirakada bu gi level do di yam watli have ne ko adu di akoi humans to di yawi but in a machine program AI da di yaw de have ne natra. So last paragraph while I am charmed by the wonderful possibilities of AI in teaching classics to the world, I'm deeply concerned about its downside. Rereading the Gita, however, has made me reaching my own values. In the real world of work, I was valued for being sharp and acquisitive. What I admired, though, were kindness and generosity, traits of failure in the real world. What is at stake is our conception of success. The present crisis in public life around the world may lie in this. There are parallels between the Gita's lament and the things we might say about our leaders today. Okay, last paragraph tamana kay haige amatamda masing eva ko am na am cham isi taseng na surprise way hai by the wonderful possibilities ko ang pataw ya ba mayam je AI na tawbo ngamba mayam je makhalu bada nga eva AI na kai tawbo ngamba da in teaching classics to the world classics akhoi thaina gi phaja ba lairik mayam leiri mayam je akhoi da tak na honari di na sai gi magi nupa du na phone toroi da adu mayam do mayam da tak na hona ba da AI na akhoi assist taw gi mong je u da ma nga eva adu oiraga su I am deeply concerned mazin nunang bo mayam kana nunang bo ma fawe about its downside, about its bad effects haitare demerits haitare ko adu khalu da mazin kana tawi sine ba yam nungai te sine ko rereading the Gita however has made me rethink my own values mazi Gita se amuk han na pa matam da magi values mayam se amuk ka wakhan khalal le ba karamana chum bano karamana aran bano karamana aigi aina fai hana khan bano karamana fatti hana khan bano hai bagi ngasai gi magi values mayam the personal values mayam do amuk rethink to holle mo na Gita paru budai ko Gita je han na paru budai hai tare in the real world of work in the real world sik seng na ha ga di kono ni ngasai gi mana hai ri akhoi gi prithibhi da hojik leiri ba mong sine ko AI na pa control to ba adagi politicians sing na oi da mayam ma ngang ba adagi social media da pra mi mayam se mislead to ba adugi world bu ni mana real world da inverted comma am ko is ko magi real world na te ba hojik oi ri ba mana di pam da real world hai ni ko in the real world of work ko abadi current status to ko I was valued for being sharp and acquisitive ko I see kai damakta value to bige ham tam da mayam na ma se yamna sharp oiba yamna tuna decision lobo ngamba and acquisitive ai ta ga di akoi gi masagi oiza ba kana ba lausan ba ngamba gi damakta ai se value to bi hai bane ba ko aduna bu mayam na ma si kano tawi na khalli ne ba hai badi yamna powerful oiba adagi mana ngang ma si yamna chumgan ba adu maina ma si treat to bi ba adu mayamna adu value to bone aingon aise adu egaso aidi pam de adugi values to adugi damakta value to da aidi pam de sinma what I admired though aina pamjabadi karino ai values ti karino hai matam da kindness and generosity thamoi chawba mi gi afaba tawba adugumba do adu oina aidi chawna thangali wangna thangali haisingba adagi mi gi kai haini masagi oiba ta khanba pochai tasanba adugumba ai thangatpi ba pamde rather ai pukchel chawba mi ama oina thangatpi ba pami habne traits of failure in the real world ko traits of failure I think asagi real world hai targa ding asagi lokshan nabi adagi henjin nabi adabi adugumba gi world do adugumba doi pamde aduda kamaina fail oi no ko failure is kam kana failure ge ham tamda thamoi chawraba dagi nangna mi khallaga di nang adum poduni da real world da ko adugumba real world di ka appreciate to the value ne haitare kindness and generosity adugumba do id pasena adugumba do ina admire to mi mani sine ma ai ko so what is at stake hojik khoi da kari leirage sine at stake haita di kai na khoina hojik phangdui se sine ko aduna what is at stake is our conception of success akoi success haibagi ngasai gi meaning si kari no habasi hanba ma change sine ma haise ko masi lana puhi dore sine ba success si kana gumba ma di ngasai gi sharp and acquisitive oiba masai khanjaba selfish oiba adagi no mercy adagi leidana ko live and let die adum bagi concept adum bagi trend dune ujanai adubu madi adugi kono do adugi success to pamde but rather hoi kindness generosity oiba adugumbagi kano do oina phana thangali aduga adubu success ne haina lowi habaneba writers in high ko so the present crisis in public life hai tagadi government adagi MPs adagi MLAs ko moigi life to ko sagi prithvi da ani government gi crisis lai riba state amagi crisis lai riba country amagi crisis lai riba moigi ngasai leaders in run to riba mong se ko sidagi tholak pani sinise. The present crisis in public life around the world may lie in this. Kaigino khoi present crisis tholai se kaigina am tam the leaders sing sina ngasai gi kaino do ina khoi selfishness kumba dagi khoi real politics haitare khoi mina bu sauk taga di lotion ba kaina adugumba kaino do ina chat lai re aduna ne present crisis tholai se ko. There are parallels between the Gita's lemon khoi Gita da ngasai gi kaino da nuai tabagi khoi gi kai haini paragraphs or the verses mayam yawi do aduga ngasigi akhoi leaders na tawriba character singsiga manaba yam lei habneba akhoi Gita da su ngasai gi akhoi selfishness oiba the greed oiba dagi kai haini atoppa singsi yekna boina loina ubadagi awawa mayam ji tholakpani kaina haiba yawbo do Gita da adugi pot to chamana na khoi leaders da su hojik thokla re habneba ko admaina moina ngasai mabuchel sengdaba transparency leitaba accountability leitaba adagi kano haitare adugumba power to misuse tawba ko Gita da already hanadagi palla leiraba pot nataneba aduga Gita da khoi yamna nuaitana iba haitare lemon haidi ko pendana dai nuaitana iba potchai singdo aduga ngasi leader sing se tawriba character dagi magi mong siga manaba yamna leye haibane there are parallels hadi manaba lei haibane ko sini AI gi kaino se magi Gurcharan das ki paragraph se ko the Gita AI and I ko sini reading comprehension han bani ngasina aduna khadi thuna dum tawre ado kano khangdaba kano khitang kano oi su dum yarom kani ko habadi part to khitang complicated oire magi kano se my passage khitang tough oire aduna exam da so dum sumba kano se dum lae ha tare khitang tough oiba passage ko ado anir om laga par ga di dum gyan di dum tarak pane ko aduna ozana han basi nuai natraga nuai te have to khitang comment da thambiramo aduga mathangda anoba kano mo article natraga hoigi lariki kano ma excerpt oma lauthorake aduna to da magis last ai je masi akoigi Das has interrogated Mahabharata in his book The Difficulty of Being Good. Ngasai na like ama hai gidana my second book to ne The Difficulty of Being Good tamana Mahabharata gi maram da question am hangi hai ne ko sigi like sida. So Indian Express the published the 1st of September da from vocabulary perspective tagidi ko vocabulary perspective tagidi word ka yaw khibani Sisike have name they had have name ko ado khoi na khanga da bom na sai de le na ko aduga apostrophe d pirambasa si contracted form ji ani obe they had have mo yai ado they would have su yai ko si contracted form ji ani obe yai karamba wa ga ta ke have si magi makha ta ba word to adu da yeng over kaigumba v3 da le ga di madu they had oi du ne adu v1 da le ma first form da le ma ba du ta di madu they would oi du ne ko. So that chosen the Bhagavad Gita from 100 I B B1 is na adu ta di si I would oi du ne ko. Yeah, it doesn't perturb hai ta di upset oiba disturb oiba ko perturb edi upset oiba adagi disturb oiba se perturb hai ko si kono ne v3 form dani ma lai se selfhood edine individuality mi amagi oiba gi mong do individuality okay authenticity genuineness original oibra oidabra do okay. Ironically hai tagadi opposite meaning leiba ironically opposite meaning leiba aduga sometimes funny oiba ko so for example akoi kano ga haiba leidana kayaba aina kano to cinema gi ticket to kakna ba nang ta chale aduga phangmana quite last phange ko ado ironically I got it in the end ko I went there to get the ticket first ko but suddenly the gate was open from the other end and I got the ticket in the end ironically adumaina opposite ki sense ama leiba atare noksom nokning ba mata ko adugumba kano do ironically hai adagi ambivalence decide to bongam da base ko feelings ani leba son sa sira na tra son sa sira kan khang da ba matang do ado ambivalent oi ba ko ko feeling ani leba ta ra sai karon na chaka do no khang da ba decide to ngam da ba undecided oi ba do ni empathetic hai ta ga di mi am bu yam understand to wi ba sa empathetic oi ba ko then literary di khang khoi gi iba khotpagi maram da leiba do ni competent na di ngamba do ni natra somebody who can do the work competent sikono ni ko hint of complaint je che phrase ni ko complaint am ta dana hai ba ni ko se hint of complaint se phrase ni drudgery of resources sikono phrase ni si ne drudgery di hard work hai ba ni ko hard work ko drudgery no mai tau da ba ya da ba hard work che koi drudgery adam hai be alienating laptop distance ka yuna ma laptop do ai na loi hai ram ne na mana na sai gi magi kono do pot to output to masagi ni hai ba loja bangam dre lack of ownership lai re aduna feeling do alienating feeling ama lai re natra is a di lai hen ba ko spouting ai di tholakpa ai chin dei tholakpa ga je ko me think of me spouting ko chin dei tholakpa ga do ni ko sajan na ba oi da ba ngang ba taning da ba fake rubbish ko rubbish oi ga to achum ba ba nei achum ba na ta ba taning da ba to oi da ba taning da ba to ta re fake rubbish ko eerie is strengths ko yam ngak pa strengths eerie yeah sige ho voice and noun ni recognition ju noun ni software su noun ni adu bu kai dau ge ha matam da ko software si recognize to ba recognition harabani na software kam software recognition software si adjective ola abani ko see adjective ola bane is used as an adjective noun used as an adjective ni se adagi amu recognition software karamba voice recognition software adu sigi compound noun se sigi amu adjective oi riba mana gyan tabra so adjective ama lai re so ju adjective oina si ni si adjective sin si define tawri ni si ani si buna sigi adjective sina define tawri ne adu individually they are all nouns okay. So voice recognition software se katane original noun di ma describe tawre aduna recognition je adjective oina sinare ani maksa recognition software jamu china voice recognition software na mu describe tawre aduna ma so adjective ne ba so na adjective 1 haro so na adjective 2 haro okay then atai word khang daba aru ba yaw ba yang si illusion adi aseng bana taba ko akhoi da malan ba adum bado illusion ko ada u ma leire en changjalo ani desert adu gadi last phulaw mang ani natra adu illusion ni yeah befuddled zu confused oiba ko absurdity oiroi da ba impossible oiba pot absurd oiba ko we noun form ni absurd ke absurdity has sentient feeling leiba ngamba human beings are sentient beings ko feeling phawba ngamba kanoni dana sentient ko feeling leiba ngamba formidable haidi yam tina strong oiba ko dagi subjective ka objective ka kya kene subjective ka objective ka subjective and objective subjective hai na mi matungin na khena ba pocha subjective oi ko adagi objective hai na sai gi mi da depend tau daba mi amadu depend tau daba si masi kanoni masi table ni habsi mi loina mak yana ni natra masi table ni masi chauki ni adagi adugumba pot hai tare khoi isagi kano experience amadi feeling yaw da bida describe tau bodu objective kowi adi subjective hai targa di mi matungina description khena ba say happiness habsi mi khara gidi natra like par ge happiness phangba yawi mi khara gidi paisa phanga happiness phangi mi khara gidi tumma ge happiness phangi natra aduna masi mi gi manade so happiness is a subjective matter is a subjective matter ko happiness is a subjective matter nuai ba hai basa mi manade natra atoni the game adagi spontaneity di kano haiba akhoi masa matom da thoksaba ko kano mina control to bana taba spontaneity ko ngarang rally sakhibodo akhoi na plan to bana te spontaneous kano ni reaction ko from the people mayam masa matom da dum thosarak ba tare adu spontaneity ko yara yeah so smain tawdana ngasigi chapter si loire ngasigi chapter ngasigi topic si loire ko ngasigi topic si maming kay kauba the Gita AI and I haiba ko written by kanana ibano Gurcharan Das na ibani Gurcharan Das si kanano hai matamda he was the former CEO of kanogi Procter and Gamble gi aduga later masi yamna influential over writer ni ma akoi foreign gi publications ko New York Times da Harvard Business Wall Street Journal da as well as India gi kano for newspapers ko Hindu wagera adagi the Indian Express wagera adu da contribute to writer ne hai tare ko aduga magi lyric ohum trilogy si maming yam challi India da India ki context ta ibani so this is India Unbound lere ahan bada second the difficulty of being good amadi comma the riddle of desire ko si pathokada bani akoi matam leraga di akoi English am improve tawani as well as our knowledge of the our country as well as ko philosophical questions me amama so akoi da answer piba ngamani ha tar so sida loire asigi reading comprehension mathang da anoba article natraga kano ma lyric ama mo discuss tawrasi thank you very much ko sida lo chalasi good night